I'm not really into anime, but I heard the One Punch Man was kind of cool. Yeah, well, you know what? He ain't got nothing on Bruce Lee. Did you hear about how Bruce Lee was out here handing out one punch knockouts to people at these karate tournaments? Let's talk about it. What's up, y'all? My name is Prince and this is Golden Belt Training. And in this episode of Bruce Lee, the Man and the Myth, we'll be taking a look at this story about how Bruce Lee destroys a karate grandmaster with only one punch. Yes, you heard that right. Bruce Lee served up a one-punch knockout to a karate grandmaster named Baxter. So this story comes from a Kempo karate grandmaster named Holmes. And Holmes shared this story and pictures from the incident with our very own Beardy Bruce Lee Central, the biggest Bruce Lee channel on the planet. And according to Mr. Holmes, Bruce Lee was given a demonstration in one of these big karate tournaments. We don't exactly know which one, but you know the demonstrations that Bruce Lee used to do with his students, where he'd show the blindfolded moving Chi Sao drills, continuous sparring wearing protective gear, the feats of strength like the two-finger push-ups, and of course the coup de grace, Bruce Lee's one-inch punch. Well, this karate grandmaster named Baxter was not impressed at all. During Bruce Lee's demonstration, Baxter was quite vocal about how what Bruce Lee was doing was all just a bunch of BS. And according to Holmes, Baxter said that what Bruce Lee was doing was all nonsense and just for show, because Bruce is a nobody and he doesn't really know martial arts. Now, by this time when Bruce Lee was getting invited to present at all these different tournaments, Ed Parker had already put him on at his Long Beach International Karate tournaments. And Bruce had already played Kato in the Green Hornet. But even still, there really were people out there saying he's just a little Chinaman. He's not legit. He's just some kind of movie star. Joe Louis was saying that before he started working out with Bruce. And Vic Moore said the same thing when he thought he could block Bruce Lee's unblockable punch. Now, just a quick interjection. I'm going to discuss both of those topics in upcoming videos, so be on the lookout for those. But back to Mr. Holmes' story about Bruce Lee and Baxter. So this guy Baxter's popping off at the mouth from the crowd during Bruce's demonstration, right?
And he was saying that it's all nonsense, it's just for show, and he's a nobody. He doesn't really know martial arts, etc., etc. He was saying that to Holmes during the exhibition and the tournament.
So later on, Bruce is on stage handing out trophies, and I'm guessing Baxter was receiving a trophy because he was on stage with Bruce Lee, who was at the podium handing out those trophies. And Mr. Holmes seems to leave this part out of the story about why exactly Baxter was on stage. But anyway, Baxter has words with Bruce Lee. We aren't sure exactly what was said, but Beardy guessed it. Baxter said all this stuff that he was saying in the crowd during Bruce's demonstration. You know, you ain't nothing. The one-inch punch stuff is fake. You're garbage. Robin is better than Kato, and I bet I can take your girl. So Bruce, in a fraction of a second, he hits Baxter with the one-inch punch and completely takes him down. Baxter collapsed on stage, and well, you're seeing that moment in this picture right now. This is Baxter ducking around and finding out about Bruce Lee's one-inch punch. So after the smoke cleared, Bruce goes back to the trophy presentation. And this right here is Baxter sitting on the stage, and he looks like he's been hit by a semi-truck. A semi-truck named Bruce Lee. Now, after I heard this story on Beardy's channel, the thought occurred to me that
this nigga was clearly lying.
So, okay, let's put on our critical thinking hats for a moment and take a look at this story that Kempo Karate Master Holmes told to Beardy.
None of these details added up at all.
So the first thing is that, well, if Bruce Lee got into a fight with this guy on stage, how come Master Holmes is the only person to tell anyone about it? And why, of all people, would he tell Beardy? I mean, there have been numerous Bruce Lee historians who've written books and articles on Bruce Lee over the last 40-something years. I mean, why not tell any of them? Well, I know, because they aren't the biggest Bruce Lee channel on the planet, right? I mean, I just think it would be a big deal if Bruce Lee laid out a guy on stage during the trophy presentation. People would be talking about it. And also, if they had this big fight on the stage, how come you're just going to let that guy sit on the stage after the fight? You're not going to escort either one of them out? I think the only time where someone can issue an open challenge to Bruce Lee and everyone allow them to just fight out in the open is in Dragging the Bruce Lee Story. I mean, I know what's coming next in an upcoming video. Beardy's obviously going to tell us that Bruce Lee really did knock out Wong Jack Man in this karate tournament. Another question I have is, well, why did Holmes tell Beardy that this picture of Baxter getting punched is the only picture of this incident?
A Kempo karate legend, Holmes, the photo and the story comes from him. He was there when this happened. And that's what you're seeing here in this picture. This guy just basically collapsed from one punch.
But, I mean, the guy in the picture is clearly getting thrown, not punched. And also, well, how come Baxter looks an awful lot like Dan Inosanto? And as a matter of fact, when I did a Google search on this image, I ended up on a website with this same image that says Bruce Lee slams Dan Inosanto at a Long Beach demonstration. So maybe Master Holmes is just old and confused. He thought that the picture of Bruce Lee punching out Baxter was the picture of Bruce Lee doing a demo with Guru Dan Inosanto from that same tournament, right? Well, I mean, the thing is that if Bruce got in a fight with this Baxter guy at an Ed Parker event, that would be kind of big news. There would have been cameras and reporters everywhere. It's not like it was in some high school gym in Boise, Idaho. This place would have been packed with people. Now, I already question why this guy would have been on stage with Bruce after their alleged incident. But, I mean, if we look at that picture, I mean, this guy sitting down is obviously not Dan Inosanto. So let's say that this actually is this guy Baxter, and the pictures got confused, right? Bruce really did have a confrontation with Baxter at the same event where he did a demo with Guru Dan. Well, I mean, how come Bruce is wearing a different shirt? Like, look at the cuffs on his sleeves. I mean, I know how these shirts are. You roll up the sleeves and you get those white cuffs. But Bruce also used to wear a shirt that only had black sleeves during his demonstrations too. And I don't think Bruce's hair is the same either. So I'm going to go with these pictures aren't even from the same event. Also, for Beardy's claims that, well, these are the only pictures from the incident, well, I also looked up this photo with Bruce Lee and Baxter on the stage. Now, I have no idea who that guy actually is, but I ended up on some Chinese website that mentioned that it was from a tournament where Bruce Lee actually received a trophy for the best presentation or demonstration. So Bruce Lee actually did win trophies at tournaments for performances, presentations, and demonstrations, but not for point sparring contests. Now look, y'all, I checked Beardy on this other video about how Bruce Lee and Jim Kelly were going around the US and they were challenging karate teachers in their dojos. And I had people asking me, well, why are you doing this? Or I guess you're just jealous of Beardy. It's not necessary to discredit Beardy. But see, here's the thing, y'all. I can see what videos you guys are watching. And when Beardy put this video out, I mean, some of y'all were eating it up. And I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people who watch my videos were watching just about every Bruce Lee video that Beardy posted that week. Now, please understand this. Like, there is no jealousy at all. If Beardy wants to make up these stories, look, I'm more than willing to go fact check them and make my own video about the stuff that he's spinning. Like, it's low-hanging fruit for me. And the other thing is this. When Beardy posts a bunch of these crazy stories about Bruce Lee, he actually makes my videos get more views. So no, like, I'm not jealous of Beardy at all. We just moved into a bigger place. I'm about to upgrade a lot of my equipment, all because of Beardy. So in all honesty, I love that guy because, look, he's making it easier for me to put out more content and for more people to see my content. And also in the process of fact checking his videos, I end up learning even more stuff about Bruce Lee where I can make more videos. Like on this last Bruce Lee, the Man, the Myth video, I got to learn a lot about Bruce's relationship with Jim Kelly. It made me look into how Bruce really learned Northern Menace, and hint, it was not from Shaolin monks in China. And this time around, I learned that Bruce really did win trophies for his demonstrations and his presentations at these different karate tournaments. And as a Bruce Lee historian, I think it's kind of cool. Now, if you stumbled onto this video and this is your first time seeing me talk about Bruce Lee, I actually do have Bruce Lee videos where I'm not fact checking Beardy or the Bruce Lee Real Fight channel. And you should check out my video on how Ip Man stopped teaching Bruce Lee, and be on the lookout for more in that series, because there's so much more to that story that I'll be diving into very soon. But hey, y'all keep training, remember to breathe, and I'll see you in the next video.